From the gold rush to Silicon Valley, California has always been a land of staggering wealth. It's a state built on big dreams, even bigger gambles, and a relentless drive to make something out of nothing. But behind the iconic skylines and sprawling farms lie powerful dynasties that have quietly shaped the Golden State's economy for generations. The stories of California's wealthiest families are often the stories of its cities, industries, and even its cultural landmarks. Woven into that grand narrative is a remarkable thread, the history of Jewish entrepreneurs and their families who, often against incredible odds, built legacies that would last. They didn't arrive as conquerors, they came as merchants, bankers, and innovators, turning persecution in their homelands into prosperity out west. Now, trying to create a definitive ranked list of the top 10 is tricky. Fortunes are fluid, often private, and the line between a family business and a public company with family influence can get blurry. So, think of this less as a formal ranking and more as a journey through 10 extraordinary dynasties, from historical pioneers to modern titans. These aren't just stories about money, they're stories about ambition, resilience, and the incredible impact of some of the richest Jewish family businesses in California. Number 10. The Newmark family. We're kicking off our list not with flashy tech or Hollywood glam, but in the dusty pre-industrial pueblo of Los Angeles. Before the freeways and film studios, there was mud brick adobe, and there was the Newmark family. Their story is fundamental to how LA went from a remote outpost to a sprawling metropolis. It all started in 1853, when a 19-year-old from Prussia named Harris Newmark arrived in a Los Angeles he'd later call a town made of mud. He came to join his older brother, who'd already set up a dry goods store. Harris started as a clerk, but quickly showed he had a sharp mind for business. While his brother eventually moved on, Harris expanded, pivoting from clothing to commodities like hides and wool, the lifeblood of the early economy. But the Newmarks weren't just shopkeepers, they were architects of a community. Harris and his uncle Joseph Newmark became central figures in the city's small but growing Jewish community. Joseph was the founding president of Congregation B'rith Brith in 1862, which we know today as the Wilshire Boulevard Temple. Harris also helped establish the Hebrew Benevolent Society, the first organized charity in Los Angeles. As the city grew, so did the family's influence. Harris Newmark was a key organizer of the LA Chamber of Commerce, the Public Library, and the Board of Trade. He knew the city's future depended on connecting to the rest of the country, so he was part of the committee that successfully lobbied to bring the Southern Pacific Railroad to town, a move that ignited LA's first population boom. Their businesses branched into real estate, helping develop towns like Montebello and owning huge tracts of land, including the historic Rancho Santa Anita. Their legacy isn't measured in a modern net worth, but in the city they helped build and the institutions they founded. Number 8. The Nazarian and Kadisha families. After the 1979 Iranian Revolution, a wave of Persian Jewish families fled persecution, leaving everything behind to start over in the U.S. Many landed in Southern California and wrote one of the incredible immigrant success stories the state has ever seen. Among the most prominent are the Nazarian and Kadisha families, an interconnected dynasty that built a fortune by making a brilliant bet on the future of telecommunications. The patriarch, Isaac Parviz Nazarian, had built a successful business in Iran. When the revolution put his life at risk, he and his brother settled in Los Angeles to rebuild. They started investing, including in a tool and die company that made aerospace parts. But the 80s brought a moment that changed everything. Isaac co-founded a company called OmniNet, which was developing satellite tracking technology. In 1988, OmniNet merged with a small San Diego startup you might have heard of, Qualcomm. As a major early investor, the Nazarian family fortune exploded as Qualcomm pioneered the mobile technology that now powers our world. Neil Kadisha, who married into the family, became a key figure in managing its wealth. Through OmniNet Capital, the family's investment fund, he has overseen a portfolio worth over $1 billion, and his personal net worth was estimated at $3.6 billion in late 2024. Beyond business, the Nazarian and Kadisha families are pillars of philanthropy. They've made huge donations to cultural and educational institutions, including a $17 million gift to Cal State Northridge's Performing Arts Center. Their story is an amazing testament to reinvention, a family that lost it all, only to build an even bigger fortune in California.
Number 7. The Hellman family. If the Newmark family laid the groundwork for early Los Angeles, the Hellman family built its financial superstructure. When California was still the Wild West, a Bavarian Jewish immigrant named Esaias Western Hellman single-handedly created the modern banking system that financed the state's explosive growth. Hellman landed in Los Angeles in 1859 as a 16-year-old who spoke German in a Spanish-speaking town of a few thousand people. He started as a clerk in his cousin's store. Back then, LA had no banks. Miners had to ship their gold dust to San Francisco for safekeeping. Seeing a huge need, Hellman bought a safe for the store and let customers deposit their valuables. By 1867, his safe held the modern equivalent of over $30 million, entrusted to him by the region's most powerful people. This informal setup became LA's first successful bank, the Farmers and Merchants Bank, founded in 1871. In an era of constant bank runs, Hellman's reputation was rock solid. During the Panic of 1893, when a dozen local banks failed, Hellman did something legendary. He took a train to San Francisco, loaded an armored car with $500,000 of his own money, returned to LA, and piled glittering gold coins on his bank's counter to prove their money was safe. His influence spread north. He moved to San Francisco and in 1905 orchestrated the merger of the Nevada Bank with the banking division of Wells Fargo and Company. Hellman took control of the new Wells Fargo Nevada National Bank, and at the height of his power, he was president or director of 17 banks. The Hellman family's leadership of Wells Fargo continued for generations, a dynasty that transformed California from a gold-fueled frontier into a global economic powerhouse. The Milken family. Few names in modern finance carry as much baggage as Milken. The family's story is a California epic of mind-boggling wealth, industry-shaking innovation, public scandal, and a pivot to philanthropy on a massive scale. Michael Milken was a brilliant financial mind from Los Angeles. Working at Drexel Burnham Lambert in the 70s and 80s, he basically invented the market for high-yield junk bonds. His big idea was that smaller, overlooked companies were often worth betting on. By creating a market for their debt, he unleashed a tidal wave of capital that fueled a generation of corporate takeovers and entrepreneurs. It made him a billionaire and one of the most powerful men on Wall Street, all while working from a Beverly Hills office. But the Wild West of 80s finance eventually led to a massive federal investigation. In 1990, Milken pleaded guilty to securities violations, went to prison, and was banned from the industry for life. His fall was as spectacular as his rise. But that's only half the story. After his release and as a prostate cancer survivor, Milken aimed his formidable energy at philanthropy. The Milken Family Foundation, based in Santa Monica, now directs a vast fortune toward medical research and education. The Michael and Lori Milken Family Foundation alone reported assets of nearly $370 million in 2023, with his brother Lowell's foundation adding another $140 million. Through his prostate cancer foundation, Michael has become a global leader in medical research, raising over $1 billion. The family also funds the Milken Educator Awards, known as the Oscars of teaching. It's a uniquely California saga of disruption, disgrace, and a powerful quest for redemption. Number 5. The Strauss-Haas family, Levi Strauss and Company. You can't talk about California icons without talking about blue jeans. The story of Levi Strauss and Company is the ultimate tale of a Jewish immigrant who came for the gold rush but struck a different kind of gold. One woven from cotton, dyed indigo, and held together with copper rivets. Levi Strauss, an immigrant from Bavaria, landed in San Francisco in 1853. He wasn't a prospector, he was a merchant. He set up a wholesale business supplying miners with essentials. One of those essentials was tough work pants. In 1873, he and a tailor named Jacob Davis patented the idea of putting metal rivets at the stress points on men's trousers. The modern blue jean was born. It was an instant hit, the unofficial uniform of the American West. When Levi Strauss died a bachelor in 1902, he left the booming company to his 4 nephews. The business was passed down through generations, eventually landing with the Haas family after a grandniece of Strauss married Walter A. Haas Sr. Under the Haas family's leadership, Levi's went from a workwear brand to a global fashion powerhouse. They guided the company through the Great Depression, World War II, and the 1960s, when jeans became a symbol of rebellion. The company went public in 1971, but the family took it private again in 1985, feeling that Wall Street's short-term demands clashed with their values. It stayed private for over 30 years before going public again in 2019. Even today, the Haas family retains significant control through a special stock structure. At the time of the 2019 IPO, the family's combined net worth was estimated at over $4.7 billion. For over 170 years, the Strauss-Haas dynasty has been one of the most enduring business legacies, not just in California, but the world.
Number 4. The Smith family, Harbor Freight Tools. From a small mail-order business to a retail empire with over 1,600 stores, the story of Harbor Freight Tools is built on a simple, killer idea: sell decent tools at prices that seem almost impossible. At the center of it all is the Smith family, a California-based dynasty that has kept tight control over one of America's most successful private companies. The business was started in 1977 by Alan Smith and his son Eric out of a small warehouse in North Hollywood. They bought liquidated and returned tools, cut out the middleman, and sold them at a steep discount through the mail. Eric Smith took over from his father in 1999 and kicked off an era of explosive growth. He built direct relationships with factories overseas, allowing them to control quality while keeping prices rock bottom. Then, he started opening physical stores, expanding aggressively across the country. Today, with its headquarters in Calabasas, Harbor Freight is a retail juggernaut. It has a cult-like following of DIYers and professional tradespeople who value a good deal over a fancy brand name. And, unlike its competitors, Harbor Freight is still a private, family-owned business, with Eric Smith as CEO. This has allowed the company to stay nimble and focused on its long-term strategy. As the company has grown, so has the family's fortune. As of 2025, Eric Smith's personal net worth is estimated to be around $8 billion. The family is also deeply involved in philanthropy, with a special focus on skilled trades education, a perfect fit for their business. Number 3. The Resnick family, the Wonderful Company. Drive through California's Central Valley, and you're in Resnick country. This is the empire of Stuart and Linda Resnick, the billionaire couple behind the Wonderful Company, one of the largest and most powerful farming operations on the planet. Their story is a masterclass in marketing, but it's also one of controversy. Their journey didn't start in farming. Stuart and Linda acquired businesses like Teleflora, the flower delivery service, and the Franklin Mint. But in the 1980s, they turned their focus to California agriculture. They didn't just grow pistachios and pomegranates, they controlled the whole process, from planting and harvesting to packing and marketing. They turned simple commodities into powerhouse brands like Wonderful Pistachios, Wonderful Halos, and Palm Wonderful. Linda is the marketing genius credited with creating the iconic curved bottle for Palm and making pistachios a mainstream snack. The company now generates billions a year, and the Resnick's combined net worth is estimated at over $8 billion. But here's where the story gets complicated. The Resnick's success is tied to California's most contentious resource, water. Their company is a massive water user, and they hold a majority stake in the Kern Water Bank, a huge underground reservoir that was originally a public project.
Critics argue that their control of this vital asset gives them an unfair advantage and allows them to profit from a public resource, especially during severe droughts. The activists argue they made the water bank functional and that they're using that water to help feed the world. The Resnicks are also huge philanthropists, donating hundreds of millions of dollars to climate research and art museums. Their legacy is a dual one: brilliant entrepreneurs who built a food empire and powerful players in California's high-stakes water wars. Number 2. The Sergey-Brin family. The next two families on our list represent a whole new kind of California wealth, forged not from land or factories, but from data and algorithms. At number 2 is the family of Sergey Brin, the co-founder of Google. Sergey Brin's story is the modern American dream. Born in Moscow, he immigrated to the US with his family at age 6 to escape rising anti-Semitism in the Soviet Union. While studying at Stanford University, he met another brilliant PhD student named Larry Page. In a rented garage in Menlo Park, they tackled a huge problem: how to organize the world's information. Their breakthrough was the PageRank algorithm, a revolutionary way to rank the relevance of websites. It became the heart of the Google search engine, which they launched in 1998. The company's growth was staggering. Google went public in 2004, and its founders became instant billionaires. Brin served as president of Google's parent company, Alphabet, until 2019, but he remains a board member and controlling shareholder. Today, Sergey Brin's family fortune is estimated to be well over $100 billion, though, like all tech fortunes, the number can fluctuate wildly. He now directs his wealth and influence towards new frontiers. Through his philanthropic efforts, he has donated over $1 billion to advance research into Parkinson's disease, a condition that runs in his family. He's also funding ambitious moonshot projects, like a high-tech airship through his company LTA Research. The Brin family represents a new paradigm of wealth, a fortune made in the digital world that's now being used to solve some of the biggest problems in the physical one. Number 1. The Larry Ellison family. At the top of our list is a man who embodies the audacious, larger-than-life ambition of the tech industry. Larry Ellison is a college dropout who became one of the richest people on Earth by building his empire on a technology that's invisible to most of us but powers nearly every major corporation on the planet: the relational database. As the co-founder of Oracle, he has built a dynastic fortune that puts his family in a league of its own. Born in New York and raised in a working-class Chicago neighborhood, Ellison was a bright but unfocused student who dropped out of college twice. He moved to Northern California in 1966 and drifted between programming jobs. His life changed in 1977. Inspired by an IBM paper on a new way to organize data, Ellison and two partners founded a company to build a commercial version. They called it Oracle. Ellison's genius wasn't just in tech, but in sales. He was a relentless, hyper-competitive businessman who drove Oracle to completely dominate the corporate database market. For over 4 decades, he's been the force behind the company, serving as CEO until 2014 and now as chairman and CTO. The scale of the Ellison family fortune is staggering. As of late 2025, his net worth is estimated to be around $175 billion, and he's not afraid to spend it. He owns a global real estate empire, a professional tennis tournament, and in 2012 he bought 98% of Lanai, the 6th largest island in Hawaii, which he is turning into a wellness and sustainability lab. His children, David and Megan, have become major forces in Hollywood, funding blockbuster films through their production companies Skydance Media and Annapurna Pictures. Larry Ellison has also pledged to give away most of his wealth, focusing on medical research. The Ellison dynasty, born from a single idea about data, stands today as arguably the richest family fortune tied to California. From the merchants who clothed gold rush miners to the tech titans who coded our digital world, these 10 families reflect California's own evolution. These are stories of immigration, game-changing ideas, and seeing a future that others couldn't. The Hellmans saw the need for stable banks in the chaos of the frontier. The Resnicks saw a global brand in a simple pomegranate, and Ellison and Bryn saw a new world hidden in lines of code. Their fortunes have built universities, funded medical miracles, and shaped our cities. They've also sparked intense debates about wealth, power, and responsibility. But these 10 families are just part of a much bigger story. California continues to be a land of opportunity, drawing the ambitious and the brilliant from every corner of the globe. The next great family dynasty could be starting right now in a garage or a lab somewhere in the Golden State. So, what do you think? Which family story stood out to you the most? Are there other influential California dynasties you think should be on this list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the empires that shape our world.